business owners and executives from around the Valley. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Good morning and thank you for watching Business Leaders. My name is Lance Cardoza and this episode is brought to you by Flooring Liquidators. On today's show, I have a friend that I've known for a long time, and he is truly an advocate to seniors. And his organization, Senior Care Advocates, are what we're talking about today on today's Business Leaders. Welcome to the program, the CEO of Senior Care Advocates, Greg Steen. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so you have a passion for seniors. And I've known that since I've known you, Greg. Mm-hmm. But before Senior Care Advocates, you probably had the dream to be the shortstop of the Yankees, right?
Something like that, or the lead guitarist for Journey, I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. That would have been a good one. Music, did you have a music background?
I do. More back in the background than anything current, but absolutely, yeah.
So where'd you grow up, Greg?
The huge metropolis of Bakersfield, California.
Bagels.
So just down the road. And so I'm a Valley boy, born and raised. Moved up to Fresno in 1999 with my family and opened up our offices here. And so, yeah, we know 99 very well.
Yeah, up and down, go back and forth, seeing family all the time. Tell the folks here at Business Leaders, and seniors a lot of times are taken advantage of, or in a situation of trying to figure out what do they do in the next phase of their life, or the children of seniors, the young adults, like what do we do about mom and dad and be able to help them? So tell us what Senior Care Advocates, what do they do?
Well, thank you for asking. Really what we do, what we find ourselves doing mainly is walking people through the long-term care maze while they're in a crisis, because one day changes everything, and all of a sudden things are going fine, and then somebody has a stroke or a fall or a medical issue and they're in the hospital. They have all kinds of new circumstances and decisions, and in fact, there's a little story that I have that talks about three things: diapers, dollars, and decisions. And what it really involves is the meat of where people find themselves in a crisis. And we guide people through that because we feel that everybody needs an advocate, because in today's world, people aren't getting all of their information as far as their rights. They aren't getting all of their options. And so what happens is they're not making good quality decisions because they're not really allowed to. They're not empowered to. And so we've found through, it's my 35th year.
A lot of uncertainty too.
Oh, completely.
Just not sure, is that the right thing to do, or?
And what do I? So here's the big three things. What do I do next? Who do I go to help me do that, and what's it going to cost?
Yeah.
So and like with the internet, you get on and you can find information about anything and everything, but within about 5 minutes you're confused. You don't know the source, if it's credible and what's current, and so people end up doing nothing as a result. So what we try to do is hone in and give people with some assessment the very specific things and steps and options and rights that pertain to them, and cut out all the rest. Yeah. And make that process, doable and easy, because typically, the one who calls us is not 85-year-old mom and dad anymore. It was for years. Yeah. But now it's, I'm 60, and I won't ask you your age, but anyway, so,
I'm not too far from that.
There you go. So we have aging parents, and it's us that we're dealing with, on behalf of our parents, right? Yeah. Well, what happens is that typically it's about a 50-year-old female that's married, still working, may even still have a kid at home in college,
but has many things on her plate.
Exactly,
trying to figure out what to do for mom or dad.
And doing it in little cracks of time, because they're still working. So, we get requests and for information and consultations at 11 p.m. or 2 a.m. because that's when they are basically trying to help out and get these things done. But they're trying to live their own life, and they don't know. There is, like you said, a great bit of uncertainty. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information that's out there as far as resources. So people just they don't know where to go.
Where do you start?
So,
Where
yeah.
do you start? And some of those questions, and it might be you. You might be right now watching Business Leaders here Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. I'd like to remind everybody. And you're listening to Greg Steen right now of Senior Care Advocates, and you're saying, that's my mom, or that's my dad, or those are the questions that I'm dealing with. Or you might be mom and dad, or you might be a senior sitting at home not sure what to do, and maybe there isn't any other family members, and you need an advocate, or you need to talk to somebody.
Sure.
What is the first step, whether it's the adult children of the parents or it's mom and dad? What is the first step?
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But what I like to say, in my perfect world, it would be for those that are in our generation to step up and start the conversation. You know, mom and dad, have you ever thought about getting a will or a trust, or protecting your assets from probate? You know, have you pre-planned your funeral? If something happened and you were in the hospital and you couldn't speak for yourself, where would we find your important documents?
Yeah.
You know, who would we call? Who are your advisors? You know, who's your attorney, your insurance agent, and those types of people that you've relied upon in the past and can help you move forward. In my perfect world, that would be the first step.
And that's a hard conversation to have with
it
mom and
is
dad.
very,
It's
yeah,
hard. And
yeah.
you've seen a dime a dozen, I'm sure. But you've seen also the other side of that. If not properly prepared, and when you're trying to navigate that is even harder.
So a great example is just this week, we have some new clients, wonderful people, that called us because mom was taking care of dad. Okay, well, the biggest fear most caregivers have is what happens if I go first. Okay, my own mother said that to my wife in caring for my own father. So, and this happened. Mom had a medical episode, ended up in the hospital. Well, she can't go back and continue to be dad's caregiver as it was. So the two sons, who are wonderful guys, are having to jump in and take care of things and spend the night and make sure everything's okay. But they had no clue what mom and dad had in the way of income or assets, because they weren't going to have that conversation out of respect.
Yeah.
And we could understand that. Mom and dad in their generation generally don't want to share that information because that's what they do. So
Wow. And so, and you hear and see many of those stories all the time at Senior Care Advocates. Greg, we're going to take a short break, but at home, if you want to find more information about this episode and other episodes, scan the QR code on the screen. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back here at KMPH Fox 26 for more Business Leaders with Senior Care Advocates. Welcome back, everybody, to Business Leaders here at KMPH Fox 26. Lance Cardoza. I'm sitting here with Greg Steen with Senior Care Advocates. And if you'd like to find out more information about this episode and other episodes, or find out more information about Senior Care Advocates, scan the QR code on the screen or go to our website at businessleaders.tv. Greg, we were talking about, you grew up in Bakersfield.
don't hold it against me.
You might have been in the band Journey at some point in your imagination. That's what you were shooting for, or you were going to be a Major League Baseball player or something.
There you go.
But you find yourself working with seniors. Where did that all start, and where did you have the passion to be able to help them in these? Because it really is a crisis sometimes when you get at that age and you're not sure what to do.
Yeah, mostly it is a crisis. But to answer your question, you know, I actually grew up in a great family, still an amazing family, and very loving and caring. And my father was in the estate planning business.
Okay.
And so I followed. And so with that, we were basically helping people plan for, you know, their final episode, if you will, the golden years, right?
Yeah.
Getting their ducks in a row and making sure they had retirement income and they could accumulate enough to do it safely. We were also selling, as part of our estate plans, prearranged funeral plans and cemetery properties. So the beginning actually is in a cemetery, of all places.
Oh, wow.
But back in 1987, but we began to realize very soon that people needed a lot more than just that. And financial planners are great, stockbrokers are great. They do a wonderful job of helping you grow everything, but there's nobody helping you protect it. And so attorneys do a good job of helping you avoid probate, but there's no plan for long-term care.
Maybe before you move on, explain probate. Maybe there's a senior or somebody right now that wants to understand that better.
I'd be glad to. So probate is really the legal process where your estate is administered and settled. So for instance, if you have no will or no trust or anything when you die, it's called dying intestate. And basically the state of California, in our case, has the right and the responsibility to divvy up and give your assets to your legal heirs. Well, you may or may not want to have those same wishes. Okay? So when you have a will, it's a great thing. It basically says, this is who I am, this is what I have, and this is who it goes to. So you remain in control even from the grave. The problem with that is they have to be probated, and it has to be accepted and approved, if you will. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice, but that's a great explanation. And the average in California is close to a year. The fees are exorbitant because the attorneys are smart and they set everything on a percentage of the value of your estate. So if we die the same day and you got double what I have, for the most part, your family is going to pay double of what mine would, okay, or close.
Without planning.
And pretty much with the same work, exactly. So that's even with a will. That's a big misconception that people have. So with a trust, you avoid the whole process completely. And it remains private, okay, because it's really nobody's business what you have and who it goes to, except those that are involved, right? And so we were doing all these types of things and realizing that there was a whole lot more. And through the years, we started seeing very quickly that people were saving all these assets for retirement and then not being able to enjoy them because of medical concerns, catastrophic medical concerns, huge issues that would bring their savings down maybe to nothing. And so here's what we found. 73% of the time, the man goes first. They spend everything they worked so hard for on him. He passes, mom lives on literally no savings, and generally about half of their income. Well, that's not what we all are striving for, right? Or looking forward to. But that's the sad reality of most Americans. So we got into more of an estate planning, and then we found out that people understood that we knew a lot of the rules as far as the VA and Medi-Cal and other government options. And so we started helping people in crisis because there was nobody to turn to.
And a lot of benefits they probably don't even know that they can access.
Absolutely.
Especially if they've served our country. In those cases that I'm sure there's a lot of different opportunities there.
Absolutely. The VA does a very good job of paying you once you get approved. You know, the money's good. The problem is they don't do a good job of telling you what's available. And so we do our very best to inform the veteran population and their surviving spouses, because they have benefits as well, and make sure that, you know, they understand there's money there to take care of in-home care and assisted living and even skilled nursing. And there's respite care, you know, they'll come in and relieve you with caregivers so you can actually have a break. Lots of benefits, you know, and but you're right, most people aren't aware because they're not informed. There are really not too many people out there informing
them. But at Senior Care Advocates, that's what it's all about. Once they get the consultation, you're going to talk to them about all their options and what they need to do to protect their assets and also protect their family. I think that's a big piece.
You're right, and give people peace of mind, because, you know, in a crisis, your peace of mind is set to the side, right? It really isn't there for a while. But to give people the right information specific to them, you know, our consultations are at no cost. If we can help you, great. But like my dad always said, if I can't help you, I'll leave you better than I found you. Right? And so we try to do that.
Good advice from Dad.
Definitely. Dad always had great advice. And with that, just giving people the right information, giving people specific advice for their walk and their journey is really what we're trying to do.
Beautiful. So Senior Care Advocates, we're going to take a short break, Greg. When we come back, someone is watching the show, Business Leaders, and they're saying, this is my mom and dad, or this is me, and I need these services, and I at least just want to find out some information. We'll have that information at our website at businessleaders.tv, where you can contact Senior Care Advocates. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders. Don't go away. Welcome back to Business Leaders. Lance Cardoza, and we're here talking about Senior Care Advocates here on Business Leaders. You can go to businessleaders.tv to catch this episode and other episodes that you see right here each and every week, Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. with Business Leaders. I want to thank Greg. Thank you for being on the program and talking. I think this is a very important subject, and I think a lot of our seniors get in that position of they're not sure what to do, so it's easier just to do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yeah, and I think when we're adult children out there running around and doing our day-to-day, we want to help our parents through that process, but we're not sure where to go or where to start.
Exactly.
And Senior Care Advocates is a great launching point. And like you said with your father, if you can't help them, you're going to leave them better than what they were when they came in.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So.
Talk to me about, you mentioned a maze. It was the long-term care maze. Tell me what that's all about.
Absolutely. So human nature is such that we won't generally deal with stuff until we have to, right? So when a crisis occurs, and we always say in our office, one day changes everything, okay? In my dad's case, real quick, he was about 70 years old, very active, a marathoner, cyclist, super fit, goes on a cruise and has a stroke. One day changes everything. He pretty much fully recovered because he was so fit, but a few years later had a very debilitating second one, and it was a game changer, okay? Dementia and whatnot started in, and so the long-term care maze is when you find that one day and something happens, and we have a big picture in our conference room, I think you've seen it, and it's a picture of people going through a maze, and they're asking questions like, how can we pay for the care, and who's trustworthy, and did mom take her meds today, and how do I get the keys away from dad because he's scaring me and probably everybody else. Things like, well, how are we going to pay for their care? Do we have to sell mom's home in order to do that? And then what happens, this is a big one, what happens when mom needs more care than I can provide? So that maze is where people find themselves at, and we try to navigate and get them through there. So what we've learned is that through the years we've developed tremendous relationships with people that we've been able to vet. And so when you're in that maze, everything's happened very quickly. You're being asked to make decisions, very quickly with very little information. We bring a team. We bring a whole network of advisors. So attorneys, CPAs, financial people, insurance people, geriatric care nurses, placement companies. All of the resources that people need, we have, and they're in our network, and some are even under our roof. And we bring that to the table and plug people into that, and so it's just a much more efficient, much less costly process. And at the end of the day, it's all about peace of mind, because our generation still has to live a life. Mom and dad don't want to be a burden, and we want to help and love them and respect them and walk in dignity with them. But at the same time, we still have to take care of our lives. And so that maze is, we want to get people through it as quickly as we can.
And so do you find too, in that maze, like in your father's situation, it's better to, when you don't hit a crisis, that to do your preparing and planning a lot sooner.
Well, of
So you're not
course. Now you're
navigating.
talking logic, though.
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
mean, we just,
And everybody's an expert with the internet today, so they'll research
that's it.
And, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so true, and you know, they joke with me when I say this, but in my perfect world, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We get these things talked about and opened up and decided in advance, because at the end of the day, I want to do for my mother what her wishes are,
Yeah.
not mine. But if we wait so long that mom can't articulate those,
Yeah.
then we're at a loss.
Yeah. Or she's just uncertain and
Yeah.
not sure. And
And like you say,
yeah.
they're paralyzed with too much information, and so we do nothing, and then a crisis hits, you know, and to be honest, even today, probably 90% of all the calls that come into our office are still crisis.
Yeah. It's at that point.
It's just where they're at. And so we're hoping to bring about an awareness and understanding that, hey, we don't have to wait till then, you know. Our consultation is at no cost, and we have a complete network of great people. I think personally, the ones that are the most trustworthy, and they're the true experts.
Yeah.
You know, so we bring something to the table there.
So with that too, and you might find also too that people feel, if I call for the consultation, I'm locked into something, or I have to sign some documents. And like you said, like your father taught you very well, is that you're probably going to find something for them. You're going to be able to help that family or help the adult children that came in. But at any point, it's truly a free consultation to come in to learn.
Absolutely.
To
be informed.
To be informed. Yeah.
And I can tell you this, I don't think we've ever had somebody that we couldn't leave better than we found them.
Yeah. And that's the whole idea. So senior care advocates, and if you're watching from home, this is the opportunity where you can go to their website, and their website is
seniorcareadvocate.com.
seniorcareadvocate.com, and get information for yourself. And a lot of times it's maybe you're the senior at home, and then you want to call Greg and his associates down at the office and be able to get that first consultation. But you probably want to bring your adult children. Bring them to the table
Absolutely.
too. So
Yeah.
then everybody's on the same page, and I would think that's probably the best opportunity.
That's a perfect situation.
Yeah.
It really is, you know.
Then everybody's informed, everybody's involved.
Exactly, and it takes all the awkwardness out of it. You know, it basically puts it on me to kind of open up all that, and it's just a very comfortable process.
Perfect. Greg, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for being on the
Likewise.
program. It's Senior Care Advocates, and they truly are an advocate for our seniors. So if your mom and dad are at that point, or you're in the future, plan now. Make that call today and plan now, and call Senior Care Advocates. And we'd like to thank you for being on the program. And
Thank
also
you.
go to businessleaders.tv to catch this episode and more. We'll catch you next week, Tuesday mornings at 11.